Everyone, I'm Patty McCarthy, Vice President for Enrollment Management here at IUP. Thanks for joining us today. While most people are used to me sharing a lot of information about numbers and data, today I really wanted to highlight the good strategic work that goes into recruiting a new class of students. And today I'm joined by Paula Stossel, Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management, Stacy Hopkins, Executive Director for Undergraduate Admissions, and Amber Dworek, Director of Graduate Admissions. But first, I do have to give you a few numbers. I would like to start with information about our spring 2021 enrollment here at the university. And I'm happy to announce that we exceeded our projections in the number of students attending by 45 students. And while our number of students exceeded our projections, credit hours for which students registered were below the credit hour projections, but most significantly at the in-state undergraduate level. This is important to note because the credit hour generation directly affects our revenue, even with a higher number of students enrolling than projected. To round out the outcomes of the spring semester on a high note, I'm pleased to share that the fall to spring retention of our fall 20 cohort of first-time, full-time degree-seeking undergraduate freshmen is 87.85%. We've not had a fall to spring retention at this level since fall of 2015, which had an 87.63% fall to spring retention. To compare, the fall 2019 cohort fall to spring retention was 84.49%. Our higher fall to spring retention rate yielded an additional 59 students than if we were at last year's rate. This strong fall to spring retention is a really positive sign for the fall to fall retention of our fall 2020 freshmen. The university-wide Retention and Persistence Committee has worked diligently to identify the best practices for student retention and persistence, as well as create initiatives that are designed to provide students with the tools they need for success towards graduation. At this point, our undergraduate, graduate, and culinary admission teams are working strategically to enroll the fall 21 incoming class. Recruitment in the midst of a pandemic comes with its challenges and required creativity, since the traditional methods were not feasible during this time and student application trends and behaviors didn't follow historical patterns. The ways in which these teams have pivoted and responded to the needs of prospective students has been very incredible. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Stacy Hopkins, our Executive Director for Undergraduate Admissions, to talk about the work of recruiting new students to IUP for the fall 2021. Stacy, how has your work in undergrad admissions changed over the past year?
Well, despite the demographic and health challenges that we face, our admissions team remains committed to recruiting and enrolling new students through a variety of initiatives. One of the most effective tools engaging students to enroll at IUP is the campus visit. And we plan our on-campus visits, weekday tours, open house, transfer, admitted student events over a year in advance. So when we transitioned to working from home last March, we were challenged to redesign all of those experiences, as well as communicate with the families that had already registered to attend an event on campus. We have been offering small in-person campus tours since September, and visiting families are very appreciative of the opportunity to come to see campus firsthand. College is such an investment, as we know, and being able to experience the campus is so important as students make that college decision. Of course, in-person visits are limited for both the safety of our prospective students as well as our current students and staff, and not everyone is able to make the trip to campus. So we worked with Marcom on multiple in-depth video tours of the housing suites, Cook Honors College, the Oak Grove, downtown Indiana, and several others, just to show off campus and the surrounding community. And the Experience IUP events, which are targeted to admitted students, in the past have had a 70% yield rate, which means that just over 70% of the students who would come to one of those events actually enrolled. We are hosting virtual Experience IUP events, which give prospective students the opportunity to interact with IUP faculty, which is so important. And admitted students in this virtual experience are receiving a live virtual welcome from Dr. Driscoll, which is so nice. And we've also added several new programs aimed at improving yield during the pandemic, including a diversity series, as well as a financial aid, housing, and orientation session. The UG admissions team is a great staff, and I have to give kudos to them, and they have been so quick to respond to change. The team worked quickly to transition our programs to virtual platforms, and we were hosting daily information sessions with a guided virtual tour in just over 2 weeks of going remote last spring. Our student tour guides, the Crimson Guides, also did a great job of transitioning to the UVisit platform to give real-time virtual tours to make the experience more personal for our families. And recruitment travel has changed as well. Very few high schools allowed in-person visits during the fall of 20, And in a typical fall, we'd visit over 500 individual high schools throughout Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia. All college fairs were virtual. The challenge of these virtual visits is attendance. And even if a student signs up to participate, the no-show rate exceeds that of any of our in-person visits. And this has impacted the number of inquiries that we were able to collect of students interested in IUP, and the suspension of standardized testing last year by College Board and ACT created challenges in the volume of names that we would typically purchase as leads. The inability of students to complete the SAT and ACT exams also challenged colleges and universities across the country to shift their admit criteria. And this is one area where I'm proud to say that we were ahead of the game here at IUP. We've had SAT optional admit criteria since fall of 2015, but in collaboration with academic affairs, that was taken even a step further to expand that SAT optional criteria to remove barriers for students. And that expanded criteria is continuing for fall of 21 as well as fall of 22. And this has just enabled us to get more students their decision more quickly once we have that high school transcript. But with fewer applications this year for both new and transfer students, we've tried different approaches to move interested students through the funnels. The undergrad admission staff have worked with incomplete applications and have done an amazing job offering students an instant decision if they submit their missing items directly to the counselor. Over 265 applications have been moved from incomplete to decision so far. So that's just been phenomenal. And we've also partnered with University Advancement to use their Thank You product at various points in the cycle, sending a congratulatory video at the time of admit, as well as welcome videos sent over the summer from current students and alumni. But I will tell you, we could not do what we do without the support of our partners across campus. Everyone touches recruitment, and we appreciate all that is done to help us. And that includes you as well, Patty. The leadership of this division has been phenomenal, and thank you for that.
Thanks to you and your whole undergraduate admissions team for just great work and pivoting so quickly in these times. Next, I'd like to introduce our Director of Graduate Admissions, Amber Dworek, to talk about the work of our graduate admissions team and the way they were able to pivot recruitment strategies to provide support to our prospective graduate students. Amber, how did graduate recruitment initiatives shift as a result of the pandemic?
Almost a year ago, our office picked up, like many others, and moved to a work from home model. The transition not only required coordination among our team, but those individuals and offices across campus in which we partner. As we made the move, the piece that kept at the forefront of all of our decisions was how to remain a student-centered office while working remotely. We worked hard to quickly update and enhance our outreach communication so that we could stay in touch with prospective students and kept them in the loop of any new updates that might impact their enrollment at IUP. We took our on-campus events to a virtual format to ensure that anyone interested in graduate studies at IUP could still meet with us and will participate in or host over 70 events. We continue to provide support and partner with others across campus, including our program coordinators, the Division of Marketing and Communications, the Office of International Education, and the School of Graduate Studies and Research, to name just a few. And my team stayed connected from our homes using IUP technology, including Zoom and Teams, to ensure that no question or concern slipped through the cracks. And what we found was that students liked the additional outreach, and the virtual format of our events yielded more attendees at our open houses from literally all over the world. Our last event in the fall saw students from 4 different countries and 12 states. We strengthened partnerships across campus as we pulled together to navigate uncharted waters, and our team connected not just to help each other with daily tasks, but to learn and grow from one another by incorporating diversity, equity, and inclusion exercises in our weekly routines. In the past year, IUP has and currently continues to see new enrollment growth in grad. And all I can say is thank you to all those who have partnered with our office or helped a prospective student in the past few months. This has not been easy, and the pandemic has brought more challenges than I think we could have ever imagined. But I am so thankful for our strong community and our willingness to again put our students first. So thank you to all those listening for your support.
Great. Thank you, Amber, for sharing that information. There has been a lot of really great work happening in the graduate admissions area, so I appreciate all that you do. At this point, I'd like to shift gears a little to our current student initiatives. And I've asked Paula Stossel, who co-chairs IUP's Retention and Persistence Committee, to join the conversation. Paula, would you be able to provide an update about the initiatives in the university-wide Retention and Persistence Committee and how that group has been able to move forward during the pandemic?
Thank you, Patty, for the introduction and for including me in today's conversation. And like many of our colleagues across campus, the University-wide Retention and Persistence Committee, many of you know us as UPERC, we too had to get used to working in our new environment. And I am happy to report that with the fall semester, our group did start to meet virtually, and we were able to work together to create our goals for 2021 to achieve our persistence and retention rates. And we are working actively in our subcommittees to work toward the goals and the initiatives that we set forth early in the fall semester. And so just as a friendly reminder, those subcommittees that are part of UPERC include financing your IUP education, peer mentoring, mental health and emotional wellness, assessment, and student engagement. And of course, we do have a few ad hoc committees, and those groups continue to meet and work as well. For example, our registration messaging group, which is actively working on summer and fall 21 registration messaging. What I did, though, want to focus on today was our newest addition to UPERC, and we have a new standing subcommittee called Advising and Data Strategies. And we were able to form this group around November of 2020. And this group partners across campus to develop and implement technology solutions that support systemic, sustainable strategies and practices that affect student retention. As many of you know, there are a lot of wonderful data resources, a lot of tools across campus. And so I was really excited that we had the opportunity to create this committee to really help us to harness those tools to work toward retention and persistence goals. And so as an initial task, it's a very, very big lift. This group has worked together to partner across campus with areas like IT services, our ADs, our colleges, our faculty, and various work groups to successfully implement and launch IUP Advise, which is IUP's new advising platform. So hopefully many of you have heard of IUP Advise, and I'm going to share a little bit about how we're working with IUP Advise from a retention and a persistence standpoint. As I mentioned, the group is called Advising and Data Strategies. And so the group was able to use a lot of the data that we have to inform IUP Advise and the various things that we can see in IUP Advise. So as we are working in IUP Advise as staff, as faculty, we can understand very specific student level data to really help work with our students to help them be successful in their journey. So for example, we might be able to see an alert where a student may be having some difficulty. We also might be able to see in the platform where a student is doing particularly well. So with IUP Advise, again, with an eye toward retention, persistence, and student success, it really is a way to harness a lot of the tools and data that we do have across campus to really give us a holistic look at our student and also a very individual look at our student. In the very near future, there will be a feature enabled so that students can actually raise their own hand within the platform if they might need assistance with a particular topic or an area. Another important component of IUP Advise with regard to student retention and persistence is that individuals, faculty, staff are going to be able and can, in fact, already put notes in the system. And that's also helping to guide us in how we're understanding the student journey. So for example, there's not only academic information that's available for the student, but also if we choose to put any notes, perhaps from an admission standpoint, and I'll look to my colleagues who spoke earlier, Stacy and Amber, maybe there's something from an admission standpoint that they learned about a person that might be really helpful and beneficial for our advisors and some other offices on campus to know. So again, just a lot of opportunity to share information within that platform. And finally, the platform does provide a communication tool. And so we are able to do a lot more outreach to our students through the platform. So that might be outreach from an advisor or from a particular office on campus. In the future, we are also looking to enable a texting platform that would be part of a communication tool. So again, just wanting to share some really good information about IUP Advise that are new, UPERC Subcommittee, Advisa and Data Strategies. is really helping with in terms of our retention and persistence initiatives. So again, Patty, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this hardworking group. I'm really look forward every time that I'm meeting with the UPERC committee. All of the groups are working so hard on achieving those goals and, really working together across the university to help our students be successful.
Great. Thanks, Paula. And thanks to all the members of the UPERC committee. They really are helping to ensure the success of our students at IUP. So finally, I would just like to take a minute from myself to thank everyone, staff, faculty, our students, and alumni, both on and off campus, for everything you do every day for our current students, helping them achieve their success, and for collaborating with us to demonstrate to prospective students why IUP is the right place to continue their educations. Thanks for spending time with us today.